Okay, so we've got our boy JGigs officially calling out every raid content creator. Does that include me? I mean, what's going on here, Gigsy? Okay, let's see what's going on here.
That's right. I'm officially doing it. I'm officially calling out all of my fellow content creators and the community in the most loving way that I can do it. I think it's officially time for us to take some sort of action. So, if you're watching this, I would appreciate it if you would go bug the other content creators about reacting to this video, or at the very least watching it and sharing some thoughts. I know that a lot of them are probably similar to me in that they don't watch a lot of other raid videos, so this might not pop up for them.
That's
So
that's a fact check true. I've talked about this before. I kind of feel bad because I want to do a better job of keeping up with everybody, but we all kind of get wrapped up in our own workflow and our own world on what we're gonna produce and trying to keep up with everything, and then it's hard to keep up with the other like 30 or 40 content creators and watch all of their videos. So what'll happen typically in my YouTube algorithm is if a raid content creator or a Diablo content creator or something produces a video that's doing very well, the YouTube algorithm will increase its reach and send it out to me. So I actually did get recommended this video here by JGigs. So it's probably one of his better performing videos in the last week or two, if I had to guess.
I need you guys to go bug them about this a little bit. I'm calling y'all out. I think it's time for us to try to make some sort of a change. This game is in such a bad state right now, and we've been gradually watching it get pulled further and further away from its potential over the last several years. I mean, pretty much since the game came out, and that's tough. That's frustrating to watch because the game has such a good foundation. There's a lot in this game to enjoy, but Plarium almost refuses to let you enjoy it. It's almost like they're trying to do the worst things they can come up with just to see if they can still make as much money as they're making. And they must be, because it's only getting worse every single day, it feels like at this point lately. I don't think anybody needs to be convinced that this is terrible. And it's one of many things that's terrible, but this is the freshest of them. This is a deliberate smack in the face. And
I'm actually not even super familiar with what's going on. I'm so wrapped up in the two different games I'm developing and trying out that new Warcraft Rumble game. I've been doing videos for that on a separate channel, and I kind of fallen out a little bit of the daily flow in terms of like grinding all these events every single day in Raid. I'm kind of like passively part of the community as a creator still, obviously, but I know they're doing like Xena Princess Warrior, and they're doing like a limited time sale, so I know that it's divisive because it's one of the only times I think that Plarium has done that, where they just like flat out put a price tag on a champion and then don't have it be part of like the permanent summoning pool. So if I have that right, let me know if I'm wrong. But it'd be like if they sold Ninja instead of having him be a daily login. He was an exclusive champion, but he was free. All you had to do was log in and play the game. So I think you got to go like one of the other routes. I think you got to have a champion that is going to be like if a champion is exclusive, make it more accessible. If a champion is going to be permanently in the summoning pool, then I guess I could see their argument on like you can get this champion right away if you want to pay, or you could possibly get it down the road. But when you do both ends of it, you make it exclusive and you just put a price tag on it, that can be a little bit of feels bad.
people are going to participate in it. Because Plarium doesn't care what we say. There's been a pattern for years where Plarium does the thing that they do. All the content creators make videos about how bad it is. All of the comments echo the sentiment, and the community as a whole, at least the YouTube side of the community as a whole, kind of expresses, we don't like this, this is bad. But then we also turn right around from that and continue to give them money and continue to do the fusions and buy their passes and participate in the events and tournaments and do all of the things that we just talked about how much we hate.
Not all of us. I haven't spent on Raid in probably over 2 years. I mean, maybe like a small purchase here or there. If there was like a god tier mini mix pack or something that grades out as like a 3.0. But I would say in the last 2 years, I probably spent like $70 on Raid. Whereas like my first 2 years, I spent like over $10,000. So like once it kind of snowballed into settling into what it's become, I kind of did stop spending.
So we say one thing, but then they have data and analytics and revenue that says another. And that's what they care about. They care about the money, number one, but they also care about having analytics that back up the decisions they're making. So if we embrace this mindset of, well, we've got to do it because it's all we've got. They're apparently never going to stop doing fusions, so I might as well just do all the fusions. The events are
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, so that's the tough part when you become part of a big or a bigger conglomeration, or you become more corporate. So like Polarium and the people working on Raid, they might deeply care about the game. I don't know. I'm just saying. But then they get purchased and acquired by Aristocrat. And Aristocrat is a casino gambling company. And Aristocrat, who's basically their boss and who owns them, the main thing they're going to care about, he's right, is how much money did you make us this year? Like we don't play Raid, we don't care about the game. How much money did you make us? And then so that kind of becomes the driving factor of the people that are working on the game, is like they're under this pressure, like, well, we have to make this money for our boss, and that's why it's a little bit risky to get acquired. So as companies grow and then they get bigger bosses, it's going to end up just devolving into how much money are you making? If it goes down, bad. If it goes up, good. So yeah, everything they do in game is unfortunately going to have the framing of, is this going to make money or not?
never going to get better, so I might as well just do what I have. That, coupled with the culture they've created where you're missing out if you don't do everything. If you miss this fusion, you could be missing out on the next Brogni. If you don't do this event, you're not going to get all those legendary tomes at the bottom. You're missing out. If you don't pull your shards, you're missing out. How can you pass up on this? You've got a 25x chance to get blah blah blah. How could you pass up? They're always trying to make you be empty. They're always trying to make you feel like you're missing out and that you need to spend money to not be missing out. And that's got to stop. It doesn't.
And that's a business practice that has been going on since the beginning of economics. Like if you ever see an infomercial on TV, it'll say, but call in the next 10 minutes and we will double the offer and give you a second one free of charge. That's not true. They're not sitting in a call center with a stopwatch waiting to see who calls in the next 10 minutes. They're just falsely trying to provide this sense of urgency to the advertisement of like, oh my goodness, I have to make a decision right now. And because the data shows when people are forced to make impulsive decisions, they will usually YOLO it and go with it. If they're like, oh, I got to decide in the next 10 minutes, I don't want to miss out. Okay, I'm going to do it. So even though they're blatantly lying, they don't care if you call in the next 10 minutes. They just create that sense of urgency. And it's the same thing if you're in sales, like if you're a used car salesman, you don't want someone to go home and think about it. You want them to decide right there in your office. So you don't want to let them leave. If they start saying things like, well, let me go home and talk about it with my wife, you've lost them. There's like a 90-something% chance they're going to end up never following through with it. You got to get them right then and there. You got to create the sense of urgency. You got to say things like, well, if you do it right now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to drop the price of the car 10%. If you're willing to do it right now, because that's just a tactic in every single business that's been going on. And obviously Plarium brings it to Raid.
Doesn't have to be that way. There's plenty of other mobile games that are not like this, right? And again, the foundation here is great, and there's a lot of fun to be had in the game. But this Champion Pass is the most boring, lazy, uninspired battle pass I've ever seen in a game since battle passes have been a thing. And if enough people buy this, this is what they'll look like forever. There will be no reason for them to change it or try to make it better if enough people buy it. And I worry that enough people have. But I feel like as a community, we need to try to make them understand that 50,000 silver brews and clan boss keys aren't enough for something like this. That's not going to cut it if you're trying to get our real life money. You can't do a crossover and not have the champ even look like the person it's supposed to look like. Who is this lady? That's not Xena. That's Christy from down the street in a Xena costume. They're not trying. They don't care. This is unbelievably uninteresting. And they don't care, and they don't have to care. And that's frustrating. And I think as a community, we can change that. I would love to see them. I would love to feel like they care about this game. I would love to feel like they care about the community.
I don't know that we can change it. Like I remember years ago, DM Dark Micro organized this big like spending strike and was putting out videos to leave 1-star reviews on the game and really galvanizing the content creators and the YouTube community to make a statement and stand up and not spend. And that month ended up being the best month of revenue for Raid. So like I think we do have an influence here as a community and as YouTubers and stuff, but like in terms of like the whales, a lot of them probably don't even watch content super often. So yeah, I mean, in terms of creators in a community, there's probably a little bit of a voice, but I don't know that it would get to the point where it like truly affects Plarium's bottom line. Maybe, but I haven't ever really seen that happen.
I would love to see anniversary events that are something more than the number of the year it is on the banners in the events tabs, but the same events and the same shit. Third year anniversary, we got cakes and threes. Fourth year anniversary, they dropped the cakes. We got fours. They don't do anything interesting. Anniversary events in mobile games are supposed to be a big deal. That's supposed to be the developer saying, thank you for getting us another year in an industry where it's very tough to rack up years. This is a very competitive industry. This is tough. So when your players carry you another year, you're supposed to appreciate that. That's supposed to mean something. But they have such clear disdain for their player base. Like they straight up have made it clear they don't even like us. That they put a few fours. And for the 5th anniversary, they'll throw a few fives in, if that. Because again, they downgraded from 3 to 4. So who knows what we're getting at the 5th year anniversary. But they don't like you. These other games, these other mobile games, some of them, it feels like they appreciate their players, and it's so noticeable. It's kind of the difference in how a small business feels about their customers versus how like Walmart feels about their customers.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about when a company grows and starts to get bloated. It's just they can't care. They're just gonna try to boil everything down to like, well, is the like they have so many different things going on. Like Aristocrat has so many different casinos and games and so many projects going on that they just want everything boiled down to one number. Okay, is this project making money? No. Okay, cut it. Is Raid making money? Okay, keep supporting it. And it's just gonna kind of get boiled down to that, like he said with Walmart. If you have a mom and pop shop where it's just a man and his wife running the grocery store, they're going to interact and treat their customers way differently than Walmart is, because you're one customer out of 248 million instead of one customer out of a few hundred. So it just kind of like here at Fateless, the game studio that we're developing, where we're doing things like setting up Patreon to hang out in voice chat with people who support us. Like that stuff isn't going to be able to happen somewhere like Aristocrat and Plarium when they get so big that they just can't possibly manage things like that. So it ends up, unfortunately, kind of going down that route as a game studio gets more and more resources and more success. But hopefully we can change that. That's our goal. I mean, we're going to try our best to succeed at that and not get so bloated that we can't show appreciation.
They know that they're fine. They know they're getting your money, and they don't even really want to interact with you. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you think. They care how much money they make. They care what their data says. If we go into their wallets for a change, the game will get better. And I bet you it'll get better rapidly. I know that as the YouTube community, we're not the whole player base, and we're not even a majority of the player base, but we're enough of the player base. If we weren't, they wouldn't engage with us at all. There wouldn't be a content creator program. They wouldn't do the things with the content creators that they do. They wouldn't bother. But there's enough of us here, right? There's enough of the whale pop.
Well, I think the reason that they would do a content creator program is it's free marketing. Like, how many millions and millions of free views have they gotten from the content creators like Hell Hades and Ash and JGigs and everybody involved with Raid? They don't pay us a monthly salary. We just crank out content for them to get their game in the YouTube algorithm completely free of charge. So it makes perfect sense for them to support us, because how many thousands of players has Hell Hades brought into Raid? How many millions and millions of dollars has Hell Hades brought into spending money in Raid with his website and with his YouTube channel? And Plarium didn't spend a penny for that. It's just free. So that's why they do these content creator programs, because they want those people to at least feel supported and be motivated to keep cranking out the free advertising.
Population that's engaged with the YouTube community. To make a difference, we can't dry their whole well up, but we can put a dent in their revenue. There's plenty of this game to play without rewarding their nonsense. Continue to do Doom Tower, farm your dungeons, build your champions. Again, there's plenty of dungeons in the game. There's plenty to do. I've been playing the game like this for a while in the Free to Succeed series. I have not done any fusions. I tried to do one or two early on, but I haven't done any fusions. I don't get too caught up in their summon events. If there's a good 10x or something or an extra legendary, I'll summon occasionally. I don't bother much with the events or tournaments. I have so much more fun playing this game the more disconnected I get from everything they're doing. I promise you there's fun to be had without participating in everything they're doing. And it's going to have to change because it's so unfun. It's so unfun. And I'm just tired of watching them treat their players like shit and get away with it. So, again, I'm kind of officially calling my fellow content creators out. React to the video, share your thoughts on the video. If you agree or disagree, fine. I'm interested in the discussion, but I do believe if we all came together as a community, we can make enough of an impact that they have to start treating this game a little differently. And I would love to see this game start working its way back toward its potential.
Okay, so it looks like that was kind of the gist of Gigsy's video, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to JGigs, I'm going to link to his channel down below. You definitely want to do so. He's one of the most talented content creators I know. The guy's like a studio-level rapper. He's like a comedian-level skit producer. Really nothing this guy can't do, and he's always got good insight as well. So, yeah, I mean, I would disagree with him on a little bit that it's going to make an impact. I think it's great to believe, but I've never seen it really work out and have an impact. I think it's cool to try and strive for change, and I fully support that. And I like JGigs' message of wishing that they would like do things in a better way, like make Xena part of the permanent pool, or make it more accessible for maybe someone to spend to get her sooner, but have an avenue for the more free to play or average player to also acquire her maybe down the road a little bit, maybe not like right away, day one. So I agree there's things that should change here, and I agree that it's good to galvanize people behind supporting the game to get better. But my pushback would be, if I'm just being brutally honest, I don't think it's gonna like affect Plarium's bottom line. If they're making like $17 million a month, and the YouTubers organize some strike, they're still going to make about $17 million a month. It's not really going to end up affecting the bottom line. But where I do agree that it could help is they probably don't want the negative PR. There is a saying that there's no such thing as bad PR, because any PR is increasing your reach. But I think they would want to keep their community interested in growing the game and loving the community. Like, they want Hell Hades and Ash to be pushing their game and to be positive about their game and be increasing that word of mouth to bring new players in. So I think that's the part that they would actually care about. I don't know that it would affect their bottom line in the short term, but they do probably want to keep the sentiment positive in terms of growing the community long term. So I guess the more I talk about it, I can kind of see where Gigsy's coming from, that it would make an impact here on YouTube. So yeah, fun video there from Gigs, and I always enjoy discussions like this, and I'm always happy to collaborate with Gigsy as well and bring him here on the channel. I want to do better about having more conversations. I'm trying to line one up with Hell Hades to bring him on to update about what he's learned so far in like the project with developing Fateless, and if there's anything he would do differently if he started over. And it's been a few months since we had that discussion, so I'm trying to line that one up and then do more collaborations as well. But yeah, always fun to hear other people's perspectives here and keep in the loop on what other people are thinking out there with JGigs. So I appreciate all of you. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon in the next video. Peace.